My name is Haley Comet and welcome to my cosmic corner of the internet where we discuss all things astrology, and today all things Leo full moon, February 5th, 2023, and you. What emotional revelations, illuminations, and epiphanies this full moon is spotlighting within your universe, and how you can lean into this cosmic call to get your sparkle back. This full moon, I'll be forthright, is under some stress, but so are diamonds, and they sparkle brighter than anything, right? This is the full moon to get back to your essence, back to your play, back to your lightness, away from the pressures of what other people want from you. There's almost this essence of this full moon that's like this, I give up, and not give up in a dejected way, but sort of like, I give up trying to be everything for y'all. I'm gonna be enough for myself. I'm gonna put my lightness, my creativity, my self-expression, my sparkle first, and allow the other elements of my life to fall into place. So within this video, we'll be breaking down the Leo full moon collective themes that are coming to the surface. We'll illuminate some ways that you can celebrate this Leo full moon. We'll break down how to find where this Leo full moon lands within your chart. And then we'll explore what life arena is being illuminated with this lunation within your world, and how you can reclaim that life arena with your own essence, your own play, your own lightness, your own sparkle. My love, if you are feeling this call, this Leo full moon, that you want to look at yourself through the lens of all of the ways that you are special, all of your talents and abilities, and how it is that you can leverage those to the highest of your capacity during this one lifetime that we have, this wild and wonderful experience that we call life, I want to invite you to my forthcoming astrology course. The doors are now open. I am so excited. So it's part of my existing astrology course called Self-Care Astrology. It's an 8-week program. It is self-paced, so you can move through as fast as you want. There's one-on-one support with me. What's special about this spring is that I'm adding on a workshop series called Align. So within the Align workshop, we will meet as a group, as a collective, every other week to connect on the themes that are coming to the surface, what you are learning about your chart, how you are learning to anchor into the beauty and brilliance that your chart holds, and even practicing with other charts if you are looking to really build that muscle of reading other people's charts and get live feedback from a supportive environment. And we've designed the workshop so that it aligns every week with the new moon or the full moon, so we can really gather together during these special lunations as a collective, inspire one another's journey. So the Align workshop will just be held this spring, and the doors close February 11th, my love. So if you're feeling this call to both learn astrology on your own, but also wanting to be around other astrology enthusiasts or other people who just want to learn, how do I design my life? How do I design a life that celebrates my talents, my abilities? How do I get back to my sparkle, my essence, before this world told me who I wanted to be? That is the environment that we are cultivating with this forthcoming workshop series. So it is only available if you jump into Self-Care Astrology before the 11th. It is available at any tier that you jump into. And the other opportunity to take this cosmic deep dive is my brand new course. It's called Luminary of Self-Care, and we dive into the most soulful placement in astrology, your moon. And we really break it down into all of its nuances, how moon by sign, moon by house, moon by aspect, moon by phase, how all of these pieces come together to tell the unique story of how to best nurture your emotional landscape, how to harness your intuitive gifts, how to care and keep for your soul. So within this container, you will progress through a 4-week program, and you get some perks included. So you get a personalized moon reading from me, weekly voice memos to check on your progress through in the container, illuminate certain facets within your natal chart, as well as 2 masterminds to connect with your fellow lunar deep divers as we really amplify one another's intuitive and soulful exploration. So you can find out more within the description and within the pinned comment. I am so excited to be able to work with you guys in a collective little container and really amplify and inspire one another as we continue. So if you are feeling this call, this Leo full moon, to really get back to your own essence, your own sparkle, and astrology resonates as a modality that really supports your own self-actualization and your own becoming, please jump in. We would so love to have you. So without further ado, let's dive in. Leo full moon collective themes. So the Leo full moon exacts on February 5th at 10:29 PST. It lands at 16 degrees Leo, opposing the sun, which is at 16 degrees Aquarius. So let's illuminate that axis, the Leo-Aquarius axis. So just like all of the oppositions in astrology, it's two sides of the same coin, right? They're opposites, but they're linked. And how Aquarius and Leo are linked is through this desire to be able to march the beat of our own drum, be our own unique person. Leo does so in a more heartfelt way, right? Following one's passions, following one's creativity, honoring the experiences that make us feel alive, honoring the spirit of play and joy and lightness, our sparkle, essentially. Aquarius is the side of the coin where, yes, it absolutely is about honing and honoring your eccentricities, your nuances, but more so the focus is upon the big picture of humanitarian causes, of large audiences. So with this full moon, it's asking you to get back to the rawest components of you. What it is that lights you up, what it is that you like to do when you were a child, who it was that you were before this world told you who to be. Leo, I adore as an energy because I think it just represents the part of ourself that is fundamentally pure, that lives the life with heart, right? That honors our own essence and leads from that heartfelt space, that does anything in our life with this passion, with this zest. So if you, my love, have been feeling a bit disconnected from your world, this Leo full moon is a cosmic reminder to say, hey, remember who it is that you are. Remember what it is that brings you joy. Remember what it is that you love. Leo governs the heart space, so it's asking, hey, how is your heart? I'll never forget one time a Leo friend, she's not into astrology, but she came up to me and she was like, hey, Haley. I was like, hi. She's like, how's your heart? And I was like, what a question. That's not something people typically ask. So this is a full moon that's asking, how is your heart feeling? How is your heart doing? What parts of you do you feel like have been bogged down by the serious, somber parts of your reality and your responsibilities? What parts of your own personality do you feel like has been bogged down by the expectations of others? How do you feel like you've been splitting your time trying to be everything for everybody? And how can you reclaim this energy to just be enough for yourself, to allow yourself to follow your heart, even if it's unpopular, even if other people don't understand your vision, even if other people would rather you do something else? It asks us to reclaim our play, reclaim our creativity, reclaim afternoons where you do nothing productive but bake a cake or finger paint or roller skate, like these lighthearted activities that really are just a celebration of being alive, right? With this Leo full moon, it's asking us to look at our world through this lens around, how is my heart doing? How much play do I have within my world? Even in activities that are, sure, serious and somber, how can I bring the spirit of lightness and play into it? How can I take that moment before business meetings to check in? Maybe how is your heart wouldn't be too popular in a business setting, but maybe being able to be present, like with your heart, with that person, check in on them. Maybe it's being able to be present with your own self, honor parts of yourself and your authenticity that you feel like have been hiding. I really love to think of this full moon in the terms of getting your sparkle back, because that's life. Sometimes we lose touch with that zest, right? Sometimes we just feel off. Sometimes we just feel stagnant. Sometimes we just feel beaten down by life. And just to an overall level, we have to consider this full moon does not oppose Saturn. It's technically 10 degrees away, so I would not consider that an opposition. But it's important to note that in some ways, this full moon feels like this graduation ceremony, this pomp and circumstance for Leo, Leo and fixed sign energy. Because Leo, if you have Leo placements, it's been beaten down by Saturn for the last 2.5 years. And come next month, really, Saturn will have entered Pisces. So it's kind of leaving Leo alone. So Leo, which is a sign that is so heart-centered, that is so filled with love, that is so playful, right? It's been harder to tap into that energy, and it's been sad for me just to witness for my Leo clients and Leo friends how harsh Saturn can be. And yes, your Saturn work isn't quite done. Saturn will be in Aquarius for another month, but this full moon is a little bit of a celebration around beginning to feel that weight lighten, beginning to get back to your own essence. Even if you don't have Leo placements, beginning to reclaim our play, beginning to reclaim our personality, getting our sparkle back, getting our groove back. My love, even if you're feeling stagnant, you were feeling stuck, I promise to you, your sparkle, your authenticity, your own divine you-ness, your personality, it's there. It is there, my love. We might need to defrost it a little bit, but I promise to you, this full moon is about getting back to it outside of the expectations of others, outside of what other people want you to be. It's about reclaiming those parts to yourself, even if they are frozen within you, even if you have not been feeling like yourself lately. This full moon asks you to reclaim the person that you are, the person that your chart designed you to be, and seeing the beauty and the magic and the wonder and the love within yourself. Because that's something I think that we get wrong a lot about Leo energy. A lot of people will look at Leo and be like, they're so self-centered, they're so egocentric. No, Leo energy reminds us what it looks like to live fiercely as an advocate of yourself. To refuse to dim your shine, to refuse to not don your sparkle if that's who it is that you are. It reminds all of us what it looks like to live in confidence, right? And to allow it to exude. And it's not even necessarily like with Leo energy that it's like, look at me, I'm so great. They hype other people too. They're not threatened by other people shining, right? They hype other people up and they hype themselves up as well. So if you've been feeling listless, if you're feeling low confidence, this is the full moon to allow you to dust your shoulders off and brighten up your sparkle. It's there, it's within you. This full moon is reminding you of it. And as I highlighted in the beginning, diamonds shine after immense pressure. Sometimes we find our sparkle shines even brighter during a time that we didn't sparkle for a year, right? Like, this is a full moon under some stress. So not everybody will be totally tapped into this very playful, lighthearted energy. And I'll share why. So this full moon squares off with Uranus. And Uranus is this call for rebellion. That's why I'm saying there's this energy with this full moon that's like, okay, I've tried to be enough. I've tried to be enough for everybody. I've tried to do everything right. I'm done. I'm going to be enough for myself. I'm going to get back to my own essence. I've tried to be enough for this person. I've tried to be enough for my friend group. I've tried to be enough for my school. I'm done. I'm just going to be my own self, because it is such an incredible waste of our energy and waste of time trying to mold and shapeshift to be what everybody wants us to be. This is a full moon that just asks you, get back to who it is that you are. Save your energy for what truly matters. Don't give so much of yourself away that you don't have any for yourself. Get back to what truly matters. Defrost. Get back to the sparkle. Other people will be like, ow. Other people will hate on the sparkle. They'll be like, that's too bright. That's too shimmery. There's sparkle in my eye. You're getting sparkle all over my living room. Whatever. Take your sparkle and your glow elsewhere. Okay? Like, this is a full moon with the square to Uranus. Yes, it can be emotionally eruptive. I think a lot of people might have really dramatic emotions come to the surface, really dramatic passions come to the surface, a desire to just break free from other people. And again, you know, with this passion and full moon, definitely don't go overboard. Don't be reckless with it. But it almost just feels like this energy where it's like, enough. That's still not good enough for you. I've been doing all of this for you and it's still not good enough. I've been hiding certain parts of my personality and it's still not good enough. You still have something to say. Fine, I'm done. I'm done shapeshifting. I'm getting back to the person that I am. I'm reclaiming my play. Even if this world is telling me that I need to be productive and efficient every moment of my time, maybe that's where you're feeling this rebellion. It's just being like, no, I'm having this hobby. I'm not doing it for anybody else. I'm not texting my boss back. I am reclaiming my play, my lightness. Life is not worth living if I do not hold on to this personal sunshine within my soul of what lights me up. And so with the square to Uranus, there can be unexpected emotional reveals. There can be unexpected events that come to the surface. Uranus always keeps things interesting, my love. So definitely pay attention to what comes up, especially when you consider that this full moon bends the nodes. So it's squaring the North Node and squaring the South Node. So with this is where I was sort of getting that energy around just feeling scattered or feeling like you've been trying to be everything for everybody. Again, the life arena you've been feeling this in will differ, but I do feel that there is a story around feeling just pulled in many different directions. Just being like, I have to maintain or give my energy to so many things. What's left over for me? This full moon's asking you to be a little selfish. Honestly, be a little selfish, okay? I know it's so cliche, we hear this all the time, but you taking care of your sparkle and your glow allows you to go out into this world and serve people and help people as the best version of yourself. Sometimes people can really benefit from your sparkle. Sometimes people can really benefit from your glow. I want to share a quick anecdote that this energy reminds me of. Early in my astrology career, I was doing as many consults as I could do, possibly. If someone asked, I was like, absolutely. I was just practicing at that point, so I wasn't accepting any money. So anyone who asked, I was like, yep, sit down. I would put my all into prepping. I would put my all into serving them. I was also teaching yoga at the same time, so I was taking on everybody's class. My focus at that time of my life was service. And again, with Leo full moon, it's a very giving energy. It's very generous with its energy and with its light. And what I noticed is that towards the end of it, when I was really getting burnt out, when I was really feeling run down, like not really eating, just constantly running around, trying to be this beacon of light for everybody, right? Pour healing into people, pour support into people via yoga and astrology. I mean, it was empty. It was empty, and it was felt by the other person, right? I thought in my twisted mind, I was like, well, I'm doing this. I just thought in my twisted mind, well, I'm doing this, I'm showing up. So that's what matters. But it's like the energy that you put into something is the energy that will be felt by the other person. So it's like if you are working on a project for your business and you are feeling so burnt out and doing it from this energy of like scarcity and lack, in some subconscious way, it'll be felt by that individual on the other side. Whereas after that, I realized that I'm like, wow, these readings aren't going that well. These yoga classes aren't going that well. How is this possible? I've been doing so many. And then I realized the more that I poured into myself, the more I was able to show up within that light. Because sometimes, particularly if you are in a healing profession, like sometimes people need that light. They need that sunshine within their world. And that's why they're magnetized to you. So if you're beaten down and you're drained, how could you possibly embody that? And maybe you're not in a healing profession. Maybe where you're feeling this is just around your relationships. You're always the therapist friend and you're like, okay, I'll listen to your problems. But sometimes you really need to take care of yourself before you are able to really show up for that person. The more that you can pour into yourself, the more capacity that you have to pour into others. It is not selfish to take radically good care of yourself, okay? It can allow you to serve better, to love harder. And I just highlight that because Leo is a very giving energy. And with this energy of being bent by the nodes, understand that you can't do everything in your life 100% all of the time. Okay, and no one is. Let me just highlight that. Oftentimes we feel like we need to have the 9 to 5 and be doing the side hustle and raising the kids and have the boyfriend. Like when you try to be everything to everybody, there are portions of your life that fundamentally won't have enough you to give them. And typically you'll be last on that list where it's like you give to everybody else. You always get the last priority and fundamentally ignored, right? And so this could be an energy where it's like just reclaiming feeling like it's okay to let people down. Like if there's someone who's been taking advantage of your generosity and your goodwill, this is an energy where it's like, hey, I can't help you move. It is what it is. Or like saying to your boss, I told you and I put PTO that I cannot work that weekend. Like this energy around standing in our fierceness, around being a fierce advocate for our own heart, for our own joy, for our own lightness, and pouring into yourself, pouring into your sunshine. That's where your sparkle comes from, is you pouring into yourself, my love. So that's what this full moon is asking for you. And there is a very healing essence to this full moon because it trines Chiron. So it is this energy around, for some of you, you've been not prioritizing yourself or taking care of yourself for a while. And like with this trine to Chiron, it is this divine reckoning around reclaiming the parts of you that have been frozen, right? Letting them defrost. It's this energy around feeling how healing it can be to finally make yourself a priority, and how making yourself a priority makes you even more magnetic in every other arena. And I know a lot of you are listening to this burnt out, scattered, have a lot of responsibilities on your plate and be like, Haley Comet, this sounds great, but I don't know if I have the capacity to be able to take a day off and paint or what have you. Again, this rebellion of radical self-care can take place in your own way. I just want you during this Leo full moon to get back in whichever way, whatever radical rebellion of self-care you can find. Even if it's like going through the drive-thru and getting Coca-Cola and taking your time really sipping it and savoring every flavor and thinking about how much you used to love doing this when you were younger with your parents. Or maybe it's riding your bike around the block as you take a break from studying for studying for your med school exams. Whatever radical act of rebellion, your only constraint is that it cannot be productive and it cannot be efficient. It needs to just be for your own soul, just purely for the intention of pouring into yourself. That is a radical act, okay? And so with the sextile to Mars, there is this energy of advocacy, of standing up for ourselves, right? No, I won't help you move. I need a day to just do my own thing. No, I can't commit to that. No, I can't do that. No, I can't be that. Get comfy with your no, okay? Get comfy with your no to protect your sparkle and to protect your sunshine during this full moon. You have this nice little courageous sextile to Mars, which allows us to stand up for ourselves a little bit more courageously. So when it comes to the moons, I like to pop in and share how it is that you can celebrate, but I don't want you to feel limited by this information that I'm going to share with you. These are just suggestions based on the astrological significance of this full moon. If your intuition or your craft leads you to celebrate in a different way, that is beautiful. I empower you to do so, especially with this radical self-care full moon that we're having, right? But I just want to share, based on what it's signifying astrologically, that if the sun is out on the Leo full moon, go outside, please bask in the sun, take it in. It can really be a recharger for your spirit, for your vitality. Spend some time outside, reclaim those parts of yourself that have felt frozen away this winter, reclaim fun. I've been sharing this, but I really want you to just do something that is purely for the sake of having some fun, right? Leo is the sign that is associated with our inner child, right? The spark and joy and wonder. And so I want you to do something that your inner child would have fun with, right? Roller skate, chew bubble gum, something in the nature that just makes you happy. That just makes you happy, okay? That has no discernible value. Even like the individuals that your inner child feels safe around, or the people that you could be silly around. It's like, it's a full moon that it's like, why are you so serious? Let's have a little fun. And like, Leo as a sign has been pressured by Saturn for like the last 2.5 years. So in this graduation period of Saturn, where it's like, it's almost completely away from the sign, it's just this energy around reclaiming the silliness that we feel like life has beaten out of us, reclaiming the lightness that we feel like the darkness has taken from us, and allowing ourselves to get back to that sparkle. So do something that celebrates that sparkle. Since the sun's in Aquarius, this can be aligned to spend time with friends that you feel illuminate and hype up your sparkle. As I highlighted, Leo energy is the cheerleader of the zodiac. I just want to share though, like with the square to Uranus, some people will be feeling a pull around, my friends want me to be like this, or I'm different than my friends in this way. I wouldn't advise spending time with friends if you do feel like they kind of dim your essence. Like I would really spend time with the people where you feel like you can be more yourself rather than less yourself. And then I would also encourage you to do some art with this trine to Chiron. It could be deeply healing to create. And again, it doesn't need to be productive. It doesn't need to be a piece of art that benefits your business. It doesn't need to be a piece of art that needs to go in the house. I want you to get a little messy with it. Just have some fun. Create not for the end result, but just as a celebration of being alive, just in the joy of breathing life into something or creating something new. And as I highlighted, this is a very passionate full moon. So paying attention to what your heart is telling you at this time. With this fixed, really grand cross in the cosmos, if you think about it, Aquarius, Sun, South Node, Scorpio, Leo, full moon, Uranus and North Node in Taurus, grand cross in the cosmos. Fixed signs are very stubborn. They're very set in their ways. And that's why they're such fierce lovers. Like that's why Leo is such a loyal, heart-centered sign. Like when a Leo loves you, they go hard for you and they hold on. And that's a beautiful thing. But I will say, just with this nodal story and Uranus being involved, there can be a energy around what are we holding on to that we are feeling that we are being asked to let go. Because when we have a lunation that's bending the nodes, it's a check-in point from our last eclipses in really like fall to our upcoming eclipses in spring. So it's a check-in point around what has transpired. What are you holding on to that is not serving you? What are you holding on to that's actually draining from you? And that can be hard. With this Leo energy, it can be hard to release something that we put our heart and soul into that we love so much, right? But there can be energy around, I'm less of myself in this. This person or the situation or this job is taking away my sparkle, right? It's draining me of it. And so for some, there can be this call to sort of disrupt our reality in some way. And I just want to say, pay attention to what your heart is telling you on the Leo full moon. Pay attention to what emotions are coming to the surface. I encourage you, like, Leo lives life like it is on a stage. So if you need to be dramatic about it, that's fine. Again, don't hurt anyone. But if you need to listen to songs in your bedroom and pretend you're in a music video, if you need to go to your friend's house and cry with ice cream, make little things a big deal, I encourage you to do so. Allow the passion of your emotions to tell you what shifts are necessary in this stage of your journey. So my loves, let's get into where this sunny full moon is lighting up our charts, right? The life arenas that is particularly bringing to the surface, because for some, this could be a very work-oriented full moon. For some, it's more about resources. For some, it's more about money, what have you. When we tune into where this full moon lands within our chart, we tune into how these collective themes that we're all feeling, how it's particularly coming to the surface within our world. So you have a couple of options. So the first being, if you are new to astrology or you utilize whole sign house system, what I want you to do is look below in the description and find your rising sign. Advance that timestamp. That is your reading. Continue from there. If you use Placidus house system, I do as well. It's a little bit more tricky, but we will get there. So first, what I want you to do is open astro.com, input your birth information, and look at the circle chart. Find the Leo symbol. It's red in astro.com, and I want you to find from border to border where that is located in your chart. So find the expanse of that Leo sign and then follow towards the inner ring and find the little numbers that it expands through. So you'll see within this example, it expands through the 8th and the 9th houses, because we see that little 8 in the middle and that 9 in the middle, and we see Leo is on the outside. So you can either listen to both those readings, take what resonates for you, or let's get specific and see where exactly this full moon lands in within your chart. So this full moon lands at 16 degrees Leo. So we'll want to find where 16 degrees Leo lands in your chart. So look at the portion of Leo that borders the portion of Cancer. Cancer is the blue symbol. It looks like this. I'm circling it on screen. And you'll want to find the border between that Cancer symbol and that Leo symbol. Amazing. That is 0 degrees Leo. Where Cancer ends, Leo begins, because Cancer comes before Leo. Amazing. So these little grid marks represent increments of 5. So it goes 5, 10, 15. So since this full moon lands at 16 degrees, we know that where this 15 grid mark is, the full moon's gonna be right around there. So in some charts, it'll be very easy to tell. You'll be able to follow the piece of pizza that it's in, look at the little number in the inner part and be like, okay, it's in the 8th house, right? That's not the case for all charts. So in this one on screen, it's most likely in the 8th, but you're like, oh, it could be in the 9th. So luckily, Astro has a little tool that can show you where every house begins exactly. So you'll want to click on PDF additional tables, cast your gaze over to the right side of the screen. I want you to find the Leo symbol, and I want you to see where the 9th house begins. So we see on this chart, the 9th house begins at 18 degrees. If this full moon is at 16 degrees, that comes before 18 degrees, we know this full moon must be in the 8th house. So listen to the 8th house reading. So now that we know where this full moon is landing within our charts, let's break it down into a house by house analysis. So if the Leo full moon lands within the 1st house of your astrological natal chart, this reading is for you. You may potentially be a Leo rising, but not always. So make sure to listen to the reading of where you have 16 degrees Leo. So my love, you are the main character of this full moon. You have the spotlight on you, and the spotlight is particularly on your identity and on your appearance. For some of you, there can be an illumination around how creative or not creative you feel that you get to be with your aesthetic, with your wardrobe, with your hair. Maybe some of you have been trying to conform or follow trends, or you don't want to be called weird, so you've been dressing like other individuals. Like, this is a full moon to be like, I'm gonna dress how it is that makes my heart happy, and that is that. And outside of even just aesthetics and appearance, it's also just this call around honing and honoring the person that we are. So for some of you, it's about reclaiming your identity. Maybe you've been putting a lot of your energy towards trying to be everything for the other people within your world and feeling disconnected with what it is that you want and who it is that you are. This full moon, I really encourage you, take some time to sit with yourself to really contemplate what makes my heart happy, what is inspiring me about this portion of my journey, and how can I get back to that? Again, forgiving yourself for times that you could have made people who didn't deserve it the priority, or times that you could have betrayed yourself by not doing what it is that you knew was right for you, but doing what you thought other people wanted for you. Forgive yourself for the past, but choose different as you move forward. Reclaim those portions of yourself that you may miss. Like for some of you, you could be thinking about younger versions of yourself and like miss, wow, she was so confident, or like, wow, he was so creative. That is still within you, my love. Get back to it. This is about excavating your own essence out of you and knowing that it is within. It is a full moon about being a little selfish, okay? So for some of you, you might really be tuning into this energy where you've been, pouring into people who maybe didn't deserve it. And this is the time to really get back and make a decision of what makes you happy, okay? And I will say, you, just based on what's happening within the chart at this moment, you have a lot going on. You're feeling pulled in a lot of direction. There's a lot of career stuff happening at this moment. There's some family stuff going on at this moment, or home stuff going on. There's some relationship stuff. Like, it just feels like you've been knocked around like a ping pong ball, trying to keep all plates in your life moving. In that space, I want you to observe if you've had any time for yourself, or to contemplate, what is it that I want outside of what all of these people want from me, right? You have at least part of Leo in your first house. So you are here to shine, and people are magnetized towards you. You think about it, Leo's ruled by the sun, the center luminary of our solar system. All the planets revolve around it, right? There is something about your light and your sparkle that people are drawn to. While that's amazing, some of you could feel beaten down by the expectations of always needing to be, whether it's like the strong one for other people, always needing to be the sunshine for other people, like feeling beaten down just by the expectations of like all that you have to be for people, or all that you represent for people, right? And I just want you to anchor into yourself. Like, I want you to get into an environment, whether it's by yourself or around people, that you just feel safe to be your own self, and just reconnect with you outside of the applause and the validation from others. Who are you? What do you want? What does your heart want? That's what you should reclaim during this full moon. So reclaim the parts of your personal style, the parts of your identity, the parts of your creativity that could have felt influenced or dulled down by others, and just choose to shine brighter. So if the Leo full moon lands within the second house of your astrological natal chart, this reading is for you. You may potentially be a Cancer ascendant, but not always. So make sure to listen to the reading of wherever in your chart you have 16 degrees Leo. So this full moon is casting a spotlight on how it is that you value yourself, and perhaps forgiving yourself for how you haven't valued yourself in the past. Like, this is really an energy to celebrate yourself and your qualities. No, it is not selfish. It is not egotistical. Hype yourself up during this full moon. A lot of you could have felt very disrespected or beaten down, or listened to what other people said about you, or even just your own negative self-talk, and believed it. And this is a full moon to get back to your own divinity, get back to your own royalty. Like, Leo's archetype of the king or the queen, right? Like, get back to the parts of you that you love, that you deeply value, and forgive yourself for ways that you haven't respected or valued yourself within the past. One way that this can come to the surface is through finances, as this is the house of finances. There can be a spotlight on your finances within your world. Maybe for some of you, it's a celebration of the finances that you've accrued. Maybe for some, it's this energy around being like, I know I am more valuable than what is being reflected within my bank account. How can I use my own qualities, my own talents, in order to really attract the resources that feel resonant with the value that I put out there and the light that I put out there into this world, right? Like, sinking into the divine law of compensation and observing, I put so much heart into what I do, I put so much passion into what it is that I do, and I don't feel like that's coming through within my bank account. What are some shifts with the square to Uranus? What are some shifts to ensure that I feel that my passion and my heart and my talent and my qualities is truly being reflected in my bank account, okay? That's one manifestation. Some of you can be asked to advocate, whether it's advocating for a raise or promotion. Some of you could just find that there's a unexpected with a square to Uranus, boost during this time, whether it's an unexpected raise, unexpected like promotion of some sort, unexpected round of orders or something of the nature. You know, with this full moon, be open to receive and know that you're worthy of all of the blessings that the universe is pouring out. If you notice that people want to give you things, or you feel called that you want to invest and buy something nice for yourself, this is a time to celebrate you, right? Get a little bougie. You deserve it, okay? Remember, you are royalty. That's what this Leo full moon is asking you to remember. So if the Leo full moon lands within the 3rd house, this reading is for you. You may potentially be a Gemini ascendant, but not always. So listen to whichever reading of the house that you have 16 degrees Leo within. So this is a cosmic call to feel comfortable with your roar, so to speak. Like Leo is the lion. Let him hear you roar. And it's okay if it's, you know, unpopular. It's okay if it's bizarre, okay? Like this is a full moon that's really casting a spotlight on what it is that you are here to share, and if you feel comfortable sharing it. Like for some of you, you can be not speaking up for yourself in something that you know you need to advocate for yourself. And this is a very strong full moon. Like granted, it is a little out there. It's a little impulsive with the square to Uranus, but with this lion energy, it's really about standing your ground, standing firm, standing up for yourself, observing where people are wanting you to shapeshift and contort your truth or your perspective, and choosing to stand even more radically within your personal truth. Some of you can feel this call around social media, around where it is that you are dulling your shine, where it is that you're like, oh, is it going to be weird if I mention this accomplishment? Or is it going to be weird if I share this creative project that I worked on? Some of you are butting up against this energy around feeling like you need to niche and brand yourself and that it needs to be perfect all the time. This Leo full moon is reminding you that the most magnetic thing is just you showing up with your authenticity. So release any script or any narrative that it needs to be aesthetic and perfect all of the time. And that echoes out past social media. That can also show up within sales, within marketing, this energy of infusing your creativity into it. If you do work in a digital field, it could be a time to really honor inspired creative ideas out of the box with the square to Uranus, but inspired ideas, and advocating for that. Maybe some of you need to be able to stand up for your ideas. Be like, this is what I think we should do, and I'm standing by it. Some of you will have this call to stand up for yourself when it comes to an extended family member, to a sibling, to a neighbor. I know, kind of random, but 3rd house themes. Some of you can be feeling this call around, is social media making me lose my sparkle? Are my digital stuff making me lose my sparkle? And what I mean by that, are you comparing yourself to others constantly? Do you need to enact boundaries in order for you to not compare yourself and to understand your own talents and your own abilities? Where is it that you are trying to fit in on these platforms? And where is it that you can be unapologetically yourself? Where are you scared to share? Some of you, there's this piece where it's like, I don't want to share. What are people going to say? And it's asking you, just shine brighter. Notice where it is that you're feeling called. Notice where it is that you're feeling called to dim, and just choose to shine brighter, because that is magnetic. And also, it can be an illumination around the classes that you take, and maybe wanting to take a new creative class of some sort of art class or a music class, or something that helps you kind of hone a creative craft or a playful craft within your world, would be like super supportive with this full moon. If the Leo full moon lands within the 4th house of your astrological natal chart, this reading is for you. You may potentially be a Taurus ascendant, but not always. So make sure to listen to the reading of where you have 16 degrees Leo. So different full moons vary in intensity for different folks. Some are very powerful and pivotal, and some are less so. For you, my love, because this is an angular house, it will likely be a little bit more dramatic or a little bit more intense for you, especially as it relates to your emotions. You could be feeling a lot. Like I was saying earlier, it's okay to make those emotions a big deal. Make them dramatic. It's a Leo full moon, my love. We're all gonna feel like we're on a stage, right? And where you can be feeling these feelings particularly is around perhaps family. There could be this energy around trying to be what your family wants you to be. Maybe some of you are sort of grappling with sensations around feeling like the black sheep, feeling different than those that you're surrounded by. And this is a full moon, I will say, if you've been sort of just suppressing and holding on to these feelings, there can be an explosion. Now, that's not what I would advise. With the square to Uranus, you know, it can be energy of being more snappy or more angry or frustrated. Just be like, I'm not going to be what you want me to be. I wouldn't particularly recommend that. But But what I would say with this energy is allowing yourself to notice where it is that you've contorted and shapeshift to meet what other people wanted you to be, and choose to reclaim and just be enough for yourself first. And I know that's easier said than done because this is a very vulnerable, tender house, right? And with the energy in Leo, you know, we oftentimes don't talk about the shadow side in Leo, is that people don't understand how sensitive of an energy it can be, and also how much at times they can really crave attention and validation from other people, not because they're egocentric, but because it makes them feel worthy. So again, doing your own thing and sharing your own spark, even if your family wants something different, for some of you, you have to sort of let go of these feelings around, well, then I won't get love or I won't receive love. And being able to sort of reclaim that component of you. For some, with this in the 4th house, it's about getting to your roots. It would be really powerful to kind of dig deep into when was the first time I felt like it wasn't safe to shine, right? And I would also encourage like sitting with, when's the last time I did something just to make myself happy? How can I pour into myself even more radically? How can I enact even stronger boundaries in order to pour into myself and love myself in the ways that I deserve? Some of you, there can be simmering tensions amongst roommates or around your living environment. And this would be a powerful full moon to also just look around and see, does my full moon really honor my own creativity, my own spark, my own me-ness? If this Leo full moon lands within the 5th house of your astrological natal chart, this reading is for you. You may potentially be an Aries ascendant, but not always. Make sure to listen to the reading of wherever you have 16 degrees Leo. So this is a cosmic call to get back to your play. Some of you have not been prioritizing your creativity. Maybe you work in a creative field, but you know, when you work with what used to be your play, sometimes the play part gets sucked out of it. Like maybe you use a lot of creative energy in your job, and then when it comes to doing your own stuff, you don't have the energy for it. Like this is a call to reclaim your own creativity. Just make it good for the soul, even if it's not productive. Make it good for the soul, even if you're not going to use it for your business. Do something that's good for the soul. Get back to creating just as a celebration for being alive. Even if you don't identify as someone who is creative, make a cake and deviate from the recipe. Finger paint, make a mess. Do something that gets back to these raw expressions of you and the person that you are. With this full moon, this is the sector of children, so there can be a call to spend time with your children. Again, children are so important to be around when particularly talking about this Leo energy, because they show us what it means to live in accordance to your play and to your lightness. And they can remind us to infuse everyday experiences. Even like the grocery store can be made fun when you're around kids, or being able to infuse just a walk to the park and make it an adventure, right? Being able to infuse our everyday environment with more fun and more lightness. So if you do have children, there can be a call to spend some quality time with them. Or perhaps if you don't have children, there could be a desire to get back to your own inner child, reflecting on, hey, I used to love roller skating. What happened to that? Why don't I do that anymore? I used to love writing. Why don't I do that any longer, right? Honoring both what it is that you're building for your future. Remember, the sun is in your 11th house of hopes and dreams for the future, with the play in the moment. Because truly, like, what is the purpose of achieving and going after what it is that we want if we're not enjoying the journey? So for some of you, it's just about infusing your everyday with a little bit more lightness, with a little bit more fun, and prioritizing your play. Outside of creativity, just prioritizing having fun. So for some of you, you can go to a party during this influence, or you can find that you're inclined to like want to go for a board game or go on a date. 5th house is like the fun, flirty side of dating and romance, or infusing that flirty, romantic energy into your existing connection. Give yourself permission to infuse more light, more joy, more fun into your daily existence. If the Leo full moon lands within the 6th house of your astrological natal chart, this reading is for you. You may potentially be a Pisces ascendant, but not always. So make sure to listen to the reading of where you have 16 degrees Leo. So this is essentially casting a spotlight on a very boring house, but how you can infuse a very boring house with a lot of fun. Okay, because listen, 6th house is day to day. It is health. It is our daily routines. It is our small animals. And this Leo full moon is asking, are you having fun as you embark upon the act of living? Because oftentimes we think of our life in terms of these sweeping moments, those trips that we have and those parties that we go to, but the bulk of your life is mostly in the day-to-day. So you better enjoy it as you embark upon your daily routine. And I'm not saying you have to have like a 12-step thing before 5 a.m., but it's more so around how can you infuse some fun into the mundane? If you know it's good to work out your body, how can you choose a workout that is actually fun? Something like a dance class or Zumba, something that you enjoy doing, that's fun and creative and expressive. If you know you have to water your plants or do other errands, why not listen to music as you do and dance around? If you have to meal prep with your partner, why, stand there in silence when you can joke and have fun with your person, just having that kind of playful banter. Like, it's about how it is that we can view our day-to-day and infuse a little bit more lighthearted fun into it. And with this, it's the house of work. Again, it's a very serious, somber house, and maybe you work in something that's not very Leo at all. But even when you're doing spreadsheets, is there some game that you can play with yourself? Even if you are working on something mundane, can you listen to a podcast or go on a walk during your lunch and count all the daisies that you see? Like, finding those micro ways to sort of reclaim our lightness in a world that wants to take it away. I'm telling you, reclaiming your sparkle is a radical act, especially with this square to Uranus. Some of you can be feeling frustrated with coworkers or just with your working environment and craving change. Honor those feelings. This absolutely can be timed with some sort of dramatic blowout at work, potentially. And again, definitely don't be reckless about it, but it can be helpful to observe. Like, if you feel that once you enter your workplace, your sparkle completely disappears, honor that wisdom. Honor what's getting brought to the surface and what it's trying to tell you. And this is house of health, so looking how you can make these healthy routines more fun. This is the house of small animals, so maybe spending time with your furry friends. They can be great teachers about always having a moment to have some fun and be playful and not take ourselves and our lives too seriously. If the Leo full moon lands within the 7th house of your astrological natal chart, this reading is for you. You may potentially be an Aquarius ascendant, but not always. Make sure to find out which house 16 degrees Leo falls in for you and listen to that reading. So the focus and the spotlight is on relationships, and I will let you know different full moons vary in intensity, and since this full moon lands in an angular house for you, this is a more intense lunation for you. It can really be bringing to the surface these themes around relationships, partnerships, and connection, and how safe or unsafe you feel to be your own essence, and all of the multitudes that your essence can contain, right? How safe you feel to be silly with someone, how safe you feel to be playful with someone, how safe you feel to be creative with someone. It essentially is asking you to look at your connections and really see which connections do I feel more of myself around. Like, I just feel so safe. I can really take the mask down and just be my own authentic self. And where do I feel less of myself? Where do I feel like my magic, my sparkle is being dulled in this connection? And so with this full moon, with the square to Uranus, where this is landing within your chart, you could feel pulled in many different directions, pulled between balancing family responsibilities with work and with your own needs, with your relationships. Like, you could just feel like you don't have enough energy to be everything for everybody. And for some of you, there's a spotlight on relationships, if they are making your heart happy or if they are adding to the stress of your world, of all the things that you are pulled between. And it's nothing scary. I will say some individuals may be feeling a call with the square to Uranus, a call around, if this relationship's dulling my sparkle, maybe I am ready for a change. That won't be the manifestation for everybody, so don't panic. There can be a call to get back to that playful creativity essence, to get back to that more lighthearted way of relating and connecting, to get back to a connection that makes you feel more confident about yourself rather than more insecure, right? So maybe this would be a full moon that's casting a spotlight on your connection and how it is that you relate to that person, and sort of stoking the fire of desire and of playfulness and of sunshine within the connection, and fueling what in the relationship grants you both that, right? Like, relationships take work, so this full moon can just be asking, if this is what we want, if we want our life to feel this heart-centered, creative, supportive, loyal, generous environment, how can we give to that more so? And with this square to Uranus, you know, there can be a call to do your own thing or needing some space. Again, that's not a bad thing. Like with this Leo full moon, it's asking, what is it that your heart needs to thrive within this relationship? Maybe it's sometimes taking some space away. Maybe it's sometimes being able to do your own thing, to get back to who it is that you are as an individual outside of this relationship. Honor that. Some of you may be single, and this can be a spotlight around the sort of person that you want within your world. This can be timed with a date or something of that nature. I would say be open to people who might be outside of your normal type with the square to Uranus, certainly, as well as perhaps reflecting on past experiences that have made you feel like less of yourself. Remember, contrast brings clarity, okay? In a very Leo fashion, the sun brings shade, right? Like when you attune to what it is that you don't want, like that relationship made me feel like less of myself. It made me want to close my heart, give less. Like it helps you tune into, this is what it is that I want. I want a relationship that I feel like I can be playful and fun around, what have you. So honor your glow, both individually as well as within your connection. If this Leo full moon lands within the 8th house of your astrological natal chart, this reading is for you. You may potentially be a Capricorn ascendant, but not always. So make sure to listen to the reading of wherever you have 16 degrees Leo within your chart. So this is illumination. It's a very intense one, honestly, because we have this house of shadows, essentially, with this moon that's answering to the sun, right? The light bearer. And so when it comes to this energy, it just reminds me of like a lighthouse. It's the light in the darkness, right? Is this full moon. And so for some of you, you could be going through some sort of grief or helping other people through grief or just a major transition. And this is sort of a full moon that's asking you to tap into your own joy and your own lightness. Like if you are guiding someone else through grief, or let's say you work somewhere that's really intense, or are helping a friend through a divorce, or you are, you know, your job requires you to be in the ICU or something of that nature. Like, you know, you might feel selfish being joyful or being happy or protecting that part of yourself. But this is a full moon that asks you, when you pour into yourself, you're able to be that lighthouse. You're able to be that individual who's inspiring and empowering for other people who are going through major changes within their world, who are dealing with major grief. Maybe you're the one who's dealing with a major transformation. How can you be the lighthouse for yourself? How can you pour into yourself that allows you to remember your sparkle and get you through this challenging time? Now, when it comes to this full moon, if you are married, there can be a spotlight around your guys' shared resources, on your guys' shared energy, on your guys' shared connection, like the us of it. If you feel safe to be your own self, if you feel safe to be intimate, if you feel like you could be, you know, playful with this individual and getting back to that if you feel like you can't. Some of you with this full moon, it's really just going to cast your awareness around where it is that it's sort of a lost cause. And I don't mean that in a limiting way. I mean a lost cause in terms of the bold arrow of time just goes in one direction. Change is our only constant. And with this house signifying both death, but also, you know, metaphoric death, it's this energy around no matter how much we try to cling and control and plan, there are things that are unpredictable. Again, with the square to Uranus in this full moon, there are things that are unpredictable out of our hands. And all we can do is just surrender to the flow of time. So your control issues can be spotlighted with this full moon. So paying attention to that around where it is that you've planned and tried to do all the things perfectly, but where things still went awry. And it's sort of energy to be like, I give up. Again, not in a limiting way, but more so in an energy around how much energy would I save and how much energy would I have to be able to pour into myself, rather than try to control and perfect everything around me, right? Rather than trying to be everything to everybody and be all put together at every moment in time. Some of you, there could just be a spotlight on your occult studies or anything that asks you to kind of go deep with the Leo energy. It's asking you to reclaim. So maybe you had an interest in some sort of metaphysical topic that you lost touch with because other people thought it was weird. Reclaim it, pour into yourself. And for some of you, the way that you pour into yourself and feel you're most confident is through metaphysical topics or through feeling connected to something deeper and something darker. So honor that within yourself. If the Leo full moon lands within the 9th house of your astrological natal chart, this reading is for you. You may potentially be a Sagittarius ascendant, but not always. So make sure to listen to the reading of where you have 16 degrees Leo. So this is a full moon that's about seeing the forest rather than the trees, okay? It is about getting to your own big picture. Some of you have been getting lost within the day-to-day. And again, for most of you, you will have transiting North Node within the 6th house, so you're being asked to prioritize your day-to-day, and that's beautiful. But this is the energy to ask you to take a step back around where is it all going. For some of you can be so lost around gotta do this and gotta do this, gotta do this every single day that you're forgetting to attune to the big picture things that are happening all around you. People are getting older. Time is going by. What it is that you're working for is coming into fruition. Are you enjoying the journey, and are you on the right journey, right? It's about like kind of taking a step back and attuning to what is it that I'm working towards, and is it working for me? And it's not so much a career house. It's more so around your journey overall and your sense of meaning with it, and being able to infuse that sense of meaning into your everyday. So reminding yourself as you arrive to work every day, what it is that this job is allowing you to do, like within your pathway, or what your company is trying to do for the world, like remembering the big picture of it all. Trying not to get so caught up around, gotta make it to this workout class and I gotta make everything exactly right. Like remembering to leave time for spontaneity and for excitement. Like some of you can find that you have an exciting like travel opportunity at this time that again could be good for the heart. Like a lot of you are getting so lost around gotta be the best version of myself that you're forgetting to view your life as an adventure, as a quest. Find the fun in it. And so for a lot of you guys will be Sagittarius ascendants. Again, not all, but it's so important for you all is to be able to have those moments of spontaneity and to adventure and to say yes to life, right? This full moon could be bringing to the surface where it is that you've been saying no or looking at the world through limitations. And again, forgiving yourself for that, but also getting back to your heart, getting back to your excitement, your sort of like childlike wonder for the world. Some of you, this can be timed with a call that you want to go back to school or invest in higher education or get more into spirituality in some sense. That feels to be something that really charges some of your life force is spirituality or your religion, something around that. Nature, you might have lost touch with, like, oh, I'm not meditating or I'm not studying astrology. Like this is a full moon that's like, remember what it is and how it makes your heart feel, how it makes your life force feel. How can you reclaim it or get back to it? If the Leo full moon lands within the 10th house of your astrological natal chart, this reading is for you. You may potentially be a Scorpio ascendant, but not always. So make sure to listen to the reading of where you have 16 degrees Leo. So various full moons vary in intensity based on where it is that they're landing in your chart. And thank goodness for that, or else every single full moon, we'd all be like, and I will let you know that this full moon might be a tad bit more dramatic than others for you because it is landing in an angular house. And so you can find it's an extra busy time. You could feel very scattered, especially since this is the house of career and public persona. So there can be a lot of activity happening around work. You can have a lot more responsibilities on your plate. There can be certain news that comes out during this time, something of a promotion or a raise or a new job or something of the nature. With the square to Uranus, you know, there is a flow of new into our world, albeit a little upsetting or unexpected with the energy of a square to Uranus, but unexpected nonetheless. So there can be unexpected events that occur at work, something unexpected coming into your awareness, some sort of blow up with an authority figure. Again, where the planets are lined up right now are all in angular houses. So again, you're feeling pulled around trying to be a lot to a lot of people. And with that, sometimes when we're so burnt out or we're so busy, we're not the best version of ourselves. You know, we're more reactive, we're more testy. So being mindful for that, right? Like our stress will whisper before it screams. So if you are not taking care of yourself, if you are not sleeping and you just feel overburdened and exhausted, you could find that during this lunation, like you snap, you get upset and it's not the best version of you. So it is an energy to listen to your whispers before your screams, particularly as it relates to your heart, right? As it relates to your creativity, to your uniqueness, like the portions of yourself that make all of the stuff worth doing. And if you are creative, I would say this Leo full moon can be a very inspired time. So definitely dedicate some time towards creating, especially if it's outside of the box with the square to Uranus. Some of you can have revelations. Maybe it's not physically changing the job this weekend, but maybe it's just having a revelation around this is not serving me. I feel like less of myself every time I step into this environment or every time I'm around this boss, and kind of opening ourselves up to changes if that aligns. Maybe some of you are tuning into your need for boundaries. Like, hey, work is getting all of my heart, and then when I get home, I don't have any left for my loved ones and for the other arenas of my life. How can I protect these portions of my being? And for some of you, if you're not working at this moment, it can be an illumination around what it is that you want. Maybe it's an illumination around what it is that you want your legacy to be. And just really tuning into this energy of leaving a legacy of love, like remembering how you do one thing is how you do anything. And you guys have at least part of Leo in your 10th house. So you are meant to pour your heart into what it is that you do, or to show up as a leader or something of that nature, and being able to tune into that vision around how it is that you want to show up within the big picture. And so if you are feeling, you know, any sort of imposter syndrome around work, around, do I deserve this? Like, remember, Leo is the archetype of royalty. Like, remember your own divinity. Remember that you are a king or a queen. Like, allow yourself to shine, allow yourself to lead from that dignified, heart-centered space. If the Leo full moon lands within the 11th house of your astrological natal chart, this reading is for you. You may potentially be a Libra ascendant, but not always. So make sure to listen to the reading of where you have 16 degrees Leo. So for you, this lunation is casting a spotlight on your friendships and how safe or unsafe you feel to show up with them with your whole heart, with your whole soul, to support and to be supported. And on the positive lens, this would be a really aligned time to schedule something to be around your friends, schedule an art night, go to a concert together, do something fun together. Remember and stoke the flames of community within your world, particularly if you find, wow, these people hype me up, these people make me feel safe. Maybe distance kind of creates a challenge when it comes to gathering with them, so maybe you can connect with them on Zoom, or maybe connect with your online community, something of that nature. Some of you, there can be some contrast coming in around maybe feeling like people are leeching off of your light or leeching off of your generosity and needing to sort of reclaim or enact some boundaries within that. That can be very healing with this sextile to Chiron. So just observing. And I want you to pay attention to your energy once you leave environments. Like, do you have more energy or less energy? Do you feel like you're being leached from or being given to? Because, you know, with this Leo full moon in the 11th house, you have at least partly of Leo in your 11th. So I would imagine you're someone who pours your heart into your friendships. So just sharpening into focus, do you feel like you're getting the same in return? And if you feel this resentment kind of building with the square to Uranus, this can be timed with argument or some dramatic emotions coming out, right, around that. And again, I would not advise being reckless, but I do want you to use your emotions as data, even if they are big, even if they are brash. Allow yourself to observe what your emotions are trying to tell you about your connections. Outside of friendships, this is also hopes and dreams. It's asking how your heart is doing. Like, if there's certain things that your heart longs for, like if you wanted to be creative within your future, like if you're giving your heart that, or if you wanted to learn a particular skill, honoring your passions. And this full moon is also about using your passions as data, allowing them to lead the way towards your own becoming, towards your own creating, honoring your passions and where it is that they lead you, because this is the lunation of hopes and dreams. You can find this little glimmer of realization around, oh, I used to love dance, why am I not doing that? Or I used to always dream about doing that as a career, why am I not integrating that in some way or fashion? This is the house of audiences. So for some of you, there can be a spotlight on your social media following, and if you feel safe to be yourself within those communities, and how it is that you can chisel and excavate your own authentic expression in order to magnetize the right people towards you. Because any community, any audience where you feel like you have to be a different person, like it's not the audience for you, right? So this is a full moon to sort of reclaim, even if your expression is bizarre or weird with a square to Uranus, reclaiming the divinity that is you. If the Leo full moon lands within the 12th house of your astrological natal chart, this reading is for you. You may potentially be a Virgo ascendant, but not always. So make sure to listen to the reading of wherever 16 degrees Leo falls in for you. So this is a very hidden sacred sector. And this full moon is essentially asking you to sit with yourself. I would deeply advise having some solitude on this full moon, and really connect to your intuition, connect to your guides, connect to your ancestors, because they can be trying to whisper certain insights about the person that you are, and encouraging self-love sort of from the inside out. you know, the outside world is busy, and a lot of you have this will be Virgo Ascendant. So I know you guys stay super busy with stuff, especially since Saturn is most likely in your 6th house at this moment. And, you know, they often say when it comes to meditation, they're like, you know, if you have time, meditate for 15 minutes. And if you don't have time, meditate for an hour. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, ah, with my schedule, there's no way I can take time to be by myself and connect to my intuition. Like, there's no way. I just have so much on my plate. But there's a wisdom to that, right? There's a wisdom in that the more that we are rushing around, doing all the things, trying to be everything for everybody, the more we really do need to pour into ourselves. I feel that a lot of you guys have been running on empty. This is my house, and I most certainly have. A lot of you guys have been running on empty. And a lot of times, just because you can do it all, you can show up for the job responsibilities and show up, it's like you are digging deep into your reserve. So just as much as you show up, even when you're exhausted, even with your drain day after day, even though you're physically able to, you know, you're still paying for it somewhere. Maybe you're paying for it in your lack of sleep quality. Maybe you're paying for it in your lack of time to pour into your life force and your creativity. Somewhere, something is eating the difference, even if you feel like I'm doing it all. So this full moon is casting a spotlight around your own sacred self-care from the inside out and getting a little woo-woo with it within the 12th house. Meditate, connect to your ancestors, pull cards. Allow that to fuel you. Allow that to radiate you, because when you are trying to be everything to everybody, you're nothing to anybody, because everybody's getting a half watered down version of you. And it feels that with this Leo full moon, connecting to your guides, connecting to your spirit can be very, very nourishing and rejuvenating for you and invigorating for you, honestly, with this Leo full moon around pouring into yourself, enacting those boundaries. And I know you're going to say, I'm so busy, but this full moon is asking you to listen to your intuition's whispers before it screams, right? Sometimes if we don't slow down, the universe makes us slow down. Again, no fear, but it's essentially asking, how is it that you can create some quiet space so you can tune into what your intuition is trying to tell you, right? And how it is that you can also face it, because a lot of you have been really, really busy as a technique to maybe consciously or unconsciously not deal with stuff. So this is a full moon to pause the outside world and connect inward, recharge your spark, connect to your subconscious processing. Are you being your own cheerleader or your own biggest hater in the pursuit of what it is that you want, and fuel your own sunshine from the inside out? I love this full moon, even though it's a bit dramatic, even though it's a bit impulsive and erratic. I still love this call for radical self-care, this call to really shine out our own sparkle, even if other people don't like it, wish our sparkle was a different color, or wish we could dim it down or keep it in one place. It's really this energy to get back to our rawest expression, to our confidence, to our essence, and to really look at the way that we are and the way that our chart is, and look at it around, how is it that I can amplify the person that I am here to be, rather than feel like I have to mold into the way that society is, right? That is truly the axis illuminated here. How is it that I can be my own self, create in my own way, Leo moon, in this society, Aquarius sun, right? And how can I reclaim my essence, my sunshine, my sparkle? So my loves, I would so love to see you within the Self-Care Astrology course. The Align Workshop series is kicking off soon. You could be a part of these special bonus workshops when you jump into any tier on the Self-Care Astrology workshop, and that comes with all of the self-paced video module content, quizzes, soul-centered exercises, the Self-Care Astrology guidebook, option for one-on-ones with me, as well as these group classes that are only available if you jump in prior to February 11th. So my love, I'm wishing you the sunniest, sparkliest Leo full moon, and until we meet again, drink lots of water and stay cosmic.